Okay, so something else that I wanted to talk to you guys about is your introduction paragraph. I'm getting a couple questions about a thesis statement and what it's supposed to be like, opinionated, non-opinionated, etc. So I want to really quickly go over the 4 parts of your intro paragraph. You will be graded on this as well. Okay, I kind of touched on this on the last paper, but we did not go too far into depth with it. But this is what I'm going to expect on this paper. First part of your intro paragraph is your hook. I think you guys probably have experience with developing a hook. It doesn't have to be like some big cheesy question or something. It can be, and that's great. It doesn't have to be something like that. It's just, some point of interest, something that, maybe a statistic, which would be good for something like this since it's an economic paper, maybe something about money, maybe it's something about life longevity, something that's going to have something to do with your paper that is going to get someone interested in the paper. So number 1 is your hook. I want you guys to write this down. So take out a piece of paper real quick, or if you've already got your computers in front of you, just make this note on the paper that you're typing on, or on the document that you're typing your paper on. So first is the hook. Second is the background information. So once you have some cheesy hook in your, it doesn't have to be cheesy, hopefully it's not cheesy actually, but once you have some hook written, then you're going to incorporate a little bit of background. Maybe you're going to talk about Karl Marx, the founder of communism. Maybe you're going to talk about Ayn Rand's background. Maybe you're going to talk about the Soviet Union that she grew up in. Maybe you're going to talk about the status of socialism, communism, capitalism, and everything today, and how people are feeling about it today. Okay, so number 1 is the hook. Number 2 is the background, and your hook is maybe a sentence or 2. Background is, 2 or 3 sentences. Third is the arguments section of your intro paragraph. This is all your intro paragraph. All 4 of what I'm listing it makes up your intro paragraph. So number 3 is the arguments, and that's where you say something like, while there are many who feel that, sorry, let me start over. Some feel that communism would be the perfect utopia, and that perfect equality would be the ideal form of living, while others feel that capitalism, a system of classes, is more efficient, and whatever. There's this. You could even say, still others support a form of socialism as an economic system for their nation. After you introduce those arguments, some feel this, some feel this, some feel this, it leads you right into your thesis, which is number 4. So we have hook, background, arguments, thesis. The arguments were, while some feel this, others feel this. Your thesis, though many feel that communism would be an effective form of, would be an effective system to implement within their country, capitalism is actually the most effective, has been the most effective in generating happiness. Or, while many feel that capitalism has been more successful, it is only thought that they only think that because a true form of communism has yet to be installed. And if it were, it would be the most productive. Whatever your thesis is, whatever you're going to argue, that's where you'll put it. At the end, your thesis is at the end of your introduction paragraph. First is the hook. Second is the background information. That should probably be the bulk of your intro paragraph. Third is the perspectives. Some feel this, others feel this, which leads you right into how you are going to argue about it. Now, you're not going to say, And I think that capitalism is the best. Sorry, it's frozen. You're not going to say, I think that capitalism. No one cares what you think. No one cares what I think. We don't have the credentials to have a valid opinion. You need to state it like a fact. I told Olivia in an email an example of an arguable thesis, which is what you're doing, what you're writing in the last sentence of your intro paragraph. An example of an arguable thesis is cats are literally the best animals on God's green earth. That's obviously an opinion, not my opinion, but it's obviously an opinion, but I didn't say it like an opinion. I said it like a fact. They are the best. That's how you'll say your thesis. This is true. I didn't say, and I just really think that cats are the best. No, they are. And whatever your thesis is going to be, it is. It is the truth as well. Okay? And from there, it takes you into you don't have to list the 3 things you're going to be talking about in your body paragraphs in your intro. You don't have to do that. You don't have to list because of this, this, and this. Okay? Then you get into your body paragraphs. And it might, since we're incorporating the novel, it might look something like this in your first paragraph. First, capitalism. First, in countries where capitalism is the economic policy, life expectation is significantly higher than in communist countries. Then you'll incorporate the novel and you'll talk about how the ancient ones were 45 or whatever it was. Okay, does that make sense? You'll say, referring to Rand's novella Anthem, on page such and such, she mentions that at the age of 40, individuals stop working. This is an example of how communist countries are based on this notion, statistics from numbers from such and such database that you have now. Remember, you're not just looking at the book. You have to incorporate the book is fiction. You can't cite the book as something that's defending your position. That's just something you're referencing. You're connecting, was her book and the things that she was saying in the book, how does that parallel with actual data and statistics and resources? So you'll say, according to such and such research, some reliable source, Rand's perspective, Rand's take on life longevity is correct or is false, whatever position you're taking. All right? And then remember your transition sentences from your body paragraphs. You'll need to somehow incorporate the concept of life longevity with your next topic, which might be friendships, or it might be work happiness, or it might be just like pride in your self, or happiness from your hard work, or whatever it is. You can incorporate, remember that the author is an atheist, so at the end, the big word was ego. So essentially this author, every person has a god of sorts. If you're an atheist, then you are God. So really, we really do all. It's like an instinctive, we all worship something. Mother Earth, whatever it is. So this author is an atheist. And so at the end, it's no surprise to me that she says ego is basically the most important thing in the world. You could disagree with her on that point, or you can just talk about individualism and how important it is, and there's so many different things that you can talk about in your 3 body paragraphs, and you just need to pick 3 different concepts. Some examples. Intimate relationships, the house of mating, stuff like that. Friendships, he's not allowed to have friends over other friends. Your work, happiness with your work. Life longevity, you don't even know your parents. Stuff like that. How important is that familial structure to an individual's psyche? You know, thinking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how at the very top it's stuff like self-esteem and self-actualization and doing things that feel make you feel productive and make you feel important to society. That can be a paragraph if you want. Okay, and then your closing paragraph is essentially going to be the opposite of your intro paragraph. Okay, the opposite of your intro paragraph. So you'll restate your thesis first in the conclusion, and then you can do the arguments again, maybe, but the biggest thing is that you start your conclusion with your thesis, and then you kind of talk about that background stuff again, and then your very last sentence or two should be kind of these big, profound statements that leave the reader compelled to do something, compelled to make some change, compelled in some way, moved. Okay? Your thesis is not going to be exactly the same as anybody else's thesis. That's okay. As long as you are on the right track, then you won't get docked for it. If after all this talk about economics and everything and research on her and on her book and everything, if you're totally missing the point still, it is going to affect your grade because you need to understand economics. You need to research. I expect you should, if you research this effectively, you should get the concept of her book, okay? So, and if you're afraid that you're not getting it and you want to double check with me and stuff, you definitely can. And you getting the main concept doesn't mean I expect you to take any certain position. You can take whatever position you want. You just can't miss the point of what she's doing. And then in your paper, you'll basically either be kind of agreeing with her or disagreeing, right? I hope that makes sense. I'm going to upload this to the classroom so that you can watch this again and email me if you guys have questions.